she's working. Oh, there she comes. I was about to say she's in the kitchen working with Karen, but oh, she knows it's a time with children. She came over. Okay. All right. You didn't want to miss this. That's awesome. That's great. Come on, come in closer. Come in closer. Now, I have a story for you guys. Today, the story is entitled Timothy and the Tiger. And one of another pastor's famous stories. Timothy and the Tiger. So let me tell you what happened. No, there was this guy. It was long ago, back in the old days when people used to travel by ship and all of that stuff. And Timothy used to live in a little village. There was this little village that he used to live in. Now, the village was near by the ocean. And back in those days, you would have some big ships that would sometimes come. And they would raid the villages and steal people and take them away back to their big city to be their slaves. So what happened? Oh, here comes some more. You were hanging out with your cousins. Okay. She's here. That's awesome. I will see her after church. Thank you for that. So what happened was Timothy was there in his village, and one day one of these big ships came, and a lot of men came out of the ship, and they took away a lot of the people and took them to their city as slaves. So now Timothy was not free anymore. Timothy had to work, and he had to work. Even when he was tired, sometimes he'd like, whew, and then someone said, get to work, and he would have to keep on working. So one day Timothy was dreaming, and he was like, I can't wait to be free. I want to be free. You know what? I'm going to be free. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run away. Now, Timothy knew beside the city was a big forest. And Timothy said, if I can get into that forest, I'll live in that forest, and they'll never find me again. So he says, you know what? When the guards are not looking, I'm going to make a dash for the forest. So that's what he did. You know, everybody was there working, and Timothy was and he dashed towards the forest, and the guards, they chased him down, but Timothy got away. And he was running in the forest. And while he was running in the forest in there, he got tired. And then soon he was thirsty. Then soon he was hungry. And then he was more thirsty, and he was more hungry, and he was like, oh man, I'm wondering if I did the right thing, because now I'm thirsty and I'm hungry. Then he saw a cave. And he says, you know what? I'm just going to go lie down in this cave, and I'm just going to take a nap. And so he was in the cave, and he was there, and he fell asleep. And a little bit later, he heard, and Timothy was like, what? Am I dreaming? And you're, when Timothy opened his eyes, right at the mouth of the cave was a tiger. And this tiger looked very mean, and he looked very upset. And he was, But one thing Timothy noticed, that when the tiger was walking into the cave, he was hopping on one foot. So he was like, and he's like, what do I do? He wants to run, and he's like, well, this tiger looks like this paw isn't good. So if I go to the side, I can get around him before he eats me. And he thought about it, but then he saw the tiger, and he was still. So he said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to be brave. And he walked over to the tiger. He took up the tiger's paw, and he turned it around. There was a big thorn in his paw. And Timothy looked at the tiger, and he says, don't eat me now. And he pulled the thorn out of the tiger's paw. When he did that, what do you think the tiger did? Eat him. No, he didn't eat him. That tiger turned into a big pussycat. He jumped on Timothy, licked him all over his face, and he just rubbed up beside him. He's like, meow, meow. And so Timothy and the tiger became friends. So early that morning, because he went to bed, they all slept together in the den. The tiger went out early in the morning and hunted and brought back meat for Timothy. So he gave the tiger some, and he made a little fire and he cooked his. And so Timothy and the tiger were living together for a long time, and they became very good friends. So soon, Timothy knew the forest, and he knew that's where the stream was, so he could get water, and he and the tiger were living together. One day, Timothy was out in the forest, walking, having a wonderful day. Did not know that the king's soldiers were patrolling in the forest. And so they came and they said, "Look, isn't that the slave that got away?" And so they captured Timothy again. And they took him back to the prison. And they said to him, "Listen, anybody that escapes from this king is punishable by death." And Timothy was scared. And Timothy was very, very scared. And Timothy said, "Oh my gosh." They said, "We are going to feed you to the hungry tiger." And they said, the law says, if you get away from the hungry tiger, then you can be free forever. But then the guard said to him, "But nobody has ever gotten away from the hungry tiger, because he eats even the bones." And so Timothy was afraid. And so when Timothy was there, he started to pray to God. And he prayed to God and he said, "God, send me help." And so he prayed and he said, "Send me help." Soon the next morning, they put him in a big stadium with all the crowd around sitting in the seats, and he was in the middle of the stadium. They put him in there, and Timothy went down on his knees. And everybody was like, "Tiger, tiger, tiger." And Timothy was like, "God send help. God send help." Soon the tiger was coming, and they had him in a cage, and the men were sticking him with long sticks. They hadn't fed him for a couple of days, and he was hungry, and they were sticking him with the sticks, and he was like, "Arr, arr, arr." He was ready to eat anything that he came on. And so Timothy was down on his knees, and they opened that door for the cage, and the tiger ran. And the tiger saw Timothy, and he was running to Timothy, and Timothy was, "Send help, send help." And the tiger was running to Timothy, and just as the tiger went up, and Timothy looked up, the tiger went, "Meow," and started licking him all over his face. It was the tiger that he was friends with in the cave. And so everybody was like, "What?" And so Timothy was able to be set free, and the tiger was also set free and given to him, because the law said if the tiger didn't eat you, you would be set free. Two things I want you to learn from this story. First thing is this: no matter what situation you're in, no matter how things look bad or things look awful, always pray to God. Ask him to send help. Ask him to help. He will make a way. Sometimes we don't know how he does it, but he will make a way. He'll make a hungry tiger not eat you. Second thing to learn from this story: when someone is in need, help them. Look at the tiger. If Timothy had run away from that tiger, and they had caught that tiger, and he came back, he was like, "Oh, you were the one in the cave that ran away from me. Now it's lunchtime." But because he helped that tiger, the tiger now helped him in return. Always help somebody in need. You'll never know when they'll be the one to turn around to help you. And that's children's time for today.